Hello, my name's Toby. I recorded this before, and I didn't have my mic on. I'm gonna teach you how to make pins. The ingredients you'll need. Old pins, preferably ones you don't use or you don't like anymore. Paint, obviously. Paint sealant, something like Mod Podge. I use a slow dry medium, like a clear, shiny slow dry medium that I figured out that it dries like a sealant. Sandpaper, not just sand, like a nail file of sorts. Paint, I already said paint. Paintbrushes, and possibly a pen. First step, what you'll want to do is grab your old pins. I'm using some old Danganronpa pins. I bought these in like 2020. They have sat in a bag I don't use anymore for the past 4 years. So we're using these today. And you can use any pins. Depending on the size of pin, it's going to be more difficult to paint more details. So in my discretion, keep designs to a minimum. Next, you want to sand the pins, so the paint sticks better. Once again, discretion, sand lightly. If you don't sand lightly, or if you sand too much, it will cause holes in the paper depending on how well made or not well made your pins are. They might cause holes, they might rip a little bit, or texture problems. And sanding lightly is always good. You can always check in the light to see how the scratches look. And if they look like they're covering the whole surface of the pen, fantastic. You did great. Next, you want to put a base layer of white. You might need to do this layer 2 or 3 times just to cover it up, but I usually only do 2 because other paint is going to be covering it and you want to kind of keep layers thin. So 1 to 2 layers of white paint for a base is pretty good. Next, what you want to do is once you have your base layer of paint completely dried, you might want to test with, checking the light to see if it's still shiny. If it's matte, you did good, unless you're using shiny paint for some reason. But once it's dry, you want to sketch out your design. Like I said, you want to keep it minimal and not, extravagant, unless you're a Fabergé egg painter and you can paint details really, really well. But for the less detailed painters out there who hate painting details, you want to keep designs to a minimum. After that, you can now finally paint what you want. I would suggest using a small paintbrush, once again depending on the size. You could have one of those giant pins that are like a whole, it's a giant pin. I don't know what else to say. But you want to have a small paintbrush, like really, really small. What matters is that the pin has personality. Once you're done painting, it might look a little rough. I think most pins do because texture of paint is going to be different unless your paint's really smooth, which I'm envious. Your pen is going to look something like this. This is a pen I have finished, but it is not varnished yet, or sealed, I guess. I keep saying varnish, and I don't think that's the right word. But after your pens are fully finished, and they're painted, and they're dry, you can now put your Mod Podge, or if you're using the same slow dry medium as I am, you want to cover them up and make sure they are covered. If something smears, then I feel like you can always go back or very quickly try and wipe it off. But you want to make sure everything is dry beforehand, or else it will not look great. It will smear, and it will look not great. I want to say bad, but I feel like that would be rude, but it's also truthful. And after it's varnished is dry and good, you have your own pen. You have your own pen of maybe yourself, maybe your own OC. Maybe you made your own pronoun pen. It can be any of those. It could also be a character you like what I did. But that's how you make your own pens. I really love doing this because it's a good way to save money if you can't buy fandom merch, or you really love your OCs and you want to make stuff for them. It's a good way to have your own things without maybe having to pay someone for them. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you do this, you can add me on Instagram or Twitter or Tumblr to show me your results, or in the comments you can tell me how it went. And if you have any issues, you can also ask me in the comments. I will try to respond the best I can. I'm not good with advice, but I will try my best if it means helping someone. Thank you for watching, and if you are still watching, why?